7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
On January 28, 1986, CNN watched the Challenger launch live on the air with its viewers. They and the other media outlets told you that the astronauts died in the explosion. But as always, there is an agenda behind every mainstream headline.
This morning, it looked as though they were not going to be able to get off.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
Looks like a couple of the solid rocket boosters blew away from the side of the shuttle in an explosion.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction. We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded.
Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss.
The 7 NASA astronauts supposedly killed in the 1986 Challenger disaster did not die in the explosion and are quietly living out their lives in the US, with many of them hiding in plain sight, using their same names and working at high levels in the same fields they worked in before the disaster, according to explosive evidence uncovered by investigators.
We've located 6 out of 7 of them. In the world of deception, it's really easy to say this person is that person, and there's a lot of that going on, muddying the waters. But 6 out of 7 have identical names. They work for universities, most of them.
There were no people in the Challenger. That was a hoax. That's been proven conclusively by researchers and reporters, investigators, who have found that those supposed people that were in the Challenger are still alive today.
We remember Dick Scobie, the commander who spoke the last words we heard from the Space Shuttle Challenger. We remember Michael Smith. We remember Judith Resnick. We remember Krista McAuliffe. We remember Ellison Onizuka. We remember Ronald McNair.
People still think the Challenger exploded with these astronauts. It was a horrible thing. Never happened. Yes, the rocket exploded. There was no one on board.
So imagine you're at the launch of the Challenger. This is a historic moment and it blows up in midair. Whether you are personally related to somebody on there or don't know anybody, you're going to be a mess. This is an emotional, incredible scene. And CNN was reporting and they told the cameraman, let's get a live shot of Krista's parents. And when they zoomed in on them, they were giggling, they were laughing, they were smiling. I don't know how you can put a smile on someone's face, even if you told them the funniest joke in the world at that very moment. Just look at their face. Is that the face of somebody whose daughter just blew up in the most horrific, violent accident ever? Or is that somebody playing a role, not knowing that they're on camera and thinking about the money that they may have gotten? You can hide somebody that's allegedly dead right in plain sight. All you have to do is move them a little farther away, give them a different job, claim that they're somebody else. You don't even need to change their name.
So statistically speaking, the odds that almost everyone on the Challenger have exact lookalikes with exact names still existing is kind of laughable, honestly. Exact doppelgangers existing in the world with the same names, and when confronted, they get very nervous and their stories begin to conflict and they have the same mannerisms. You know, it doesn't take a lot to put it together, honestly.
Let's start with former NASA astronaut Michael J. Smith, with the same name as this retired professor from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying...
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not, if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
Yeah, and I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look alike. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like. What? 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael J. Smith, identical looks, dimples the same, teeth the same. There's really no denying it. And before he could finish the question, Michael denied it. Oh, that's not me, you know, and laughed it off. What's he going to say? Oh, you got me? Not going to happen.
The driveway footage of Michael J. Smith, that's real. I mean, that can't be a deep fake, you know, so at some point you got to stop trusting liars.
We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public.
Next is former NASA astronaut Judith Resnick with an exact doppelganger working at Yale University. 37 years have passed and she hasn't even changed her name. Side by side, there's no denying it. When she's approached, she has a very odd way of not responding.
Hey, Judy? Judy. How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press? I'm
from a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite. Friendly, just a question. So there's a lot of rumors about you being on that space shuttle. Obviously, you know, if you want to comment, we would really appreciate it.
Kind of odd that Judith is in full panic mode when realizing the press is in her presence. She's no stranger to being in the spotlight. She even made her way into Hollywood for a quick cameo.
If the choice is to allow Americans to be taken as hostages or to be executed, I'll bring my own fucking rope. Saddam backed down, and Ambassador Wilson helped thousands get safely home. When he himself came home to the United States, he was warmly greeted by our president, who took him to the Oval Office and introduced him to the War Cabinet as an American hero.
Commander Dick Scobie had a company called Cows and Trees, and when you went to his website, there was an animation of a cow taking off like a rocket with a smoke stream coming out of its backside, doing a twisty curl in the air that looked remarkably just like what we saw with the Challenger. And after we started making videos on that and it started going viral, that website disappeared, never to be seen again.
And nobody could have predicted back in 1986 that in 30 some odd years from then that there would be something called the internet that would bring all this information to the tip of your fingers, and you'd be able to search through pictures, Facebooks, websites, profiles. Now these people are scared. They're hiding their profiles, they're deleting their websites, they're making their Facebooks private.
Onizuka and McNair are always together. They're hanging out at NASA and always talking about themselves.
Ellison Onizuka, if you look at clips of him back in 1986 when this happened, he actually spoke like, every other word was,
Let me say that it's really a pleasure to be back.
If you look at clips of his brother, Claude, now speaking, it's the same exact thing. Every other word is,
But Ellison's dream is continued to be carried on.
I think we got some...
we're very fortunate that
I think we're ready to go fly. Thanks for being out here today.
His brother just so happens to be the spokesperson for the Challenger tragedy. Why aren't there any pictures of his brother back when this happened? Why didn't his brother speak at the funeral? Use your head.
Former Governor Ariyoshi, who has a story about a picture that survived the Challenger disaster.
Ellison Onizuka came to see me one day and he wanted a family photo. And he wanted to take it up on a Challenger and he's going to bring it back, inscribe it, and autograph it. But that Challenger accident happened and I felt very sorry to lose Ellison. But I didn't even think about the photo. I thought everything else must have been destroyed completely. About 2 months later, Lorna Onizuka called me and told me that they found in the water, NASA found the personal preference kit of AstroNOTs, and she said there were two things in there. One was a monk's prayer, and the other was his family portrait. So I told her, oh, then it must be in terrible condition because the astronauts, the big bang up and the ocean in the water for 2 months. She told me, no, it's in perfect condition. I said, I'm going to bring the picture over to you and present it to you. And then in the meantime, NASA got the picture and they put this together for us.
Ronald McNair conveniently has a twin brother named Carl McNair who looks exactly like him and is at a lot of the events now, but was nowhere to be found when the explosion happened.
Krista McAuliffe was a fairly new teacher, just 3 years at that school. To get her story planted, all of these people, the parents, the astronauts, everyone involved that you saw, are crisis actors.
Essie was at the Cape in the stands to see Tuesday's launch, a sight that she says still haunts her.
Why didn't I leave too? But I thought, no, I want to stay and see it.
And as she read Mike's invitation for the launch, Miss Hesse said that she doesn't know if she'll be emotionally ready for a service like that in his hometown.
Since I won't be able to see you all in person, let me say thanks for coming and have a great time. And I hope you see a good show.
George Bush Sr. hand-selected the teacher, Krista McAuliffe. What are the odds that 30 years later, there is a professor at Syracuse University with the name Sharon McAuliffe?
I still can't believe that I'm going to actually be going into that shuttle. It just really doesn't seem possible.
Krista McAuliffe was asked if she had any fears about her space shuttle flight.
People really feel that space travel is safe now. It's not that earlier feeling that, oh, it's going to blow up or something's going to happen. Right at this point, I feel that I'll be okay if I go up.
The reason they did it was a psychological operation to justify not doing manned space flights anymore and to pull on your heartstrings with an emotional cover. So if you dare question it, then you know you're immoral. And then when you look into it, you find out, of course, that you have all these people still existing in the world. So basically a government version of witness protection for NASA.
Our nation held a vigil by our television sets. In one cruel moment, our exhilaration turned to horror. We waited and watched.
They were waiting and watching.
When they saw the explosion, there was confusion. Was something wrong? The principal and teachers weren't certain either. Then it got very quiet as the horror of it began to register.
Besides the trauma-based mind control and putting children through that trauma, and also it reinforces their model. It reinforces their religion. Look, all this terrible thing happened. We're trying to go to space. We're trying to explore for science. But oh, look, all those people died.
But at 1 o'clock, school was closed. It had to close.
I felt as if my whole body blew up inside when I saw that. And I can just never be as shocked as I am now.
Seeing it with my own eyes, it really just scared me.
Some astronauts blow up in a rocket. What does that do subconsciously to the average person? They don't want to go up into space. They don't want to blow up in a rocket. We'll leave that to the professionals. We'll leave that to NASA and our government.
Once they had seen the evidence on the visual screen that there would be no survivors, it suddenly became apparent to them that they were dealing with death.
The government had incentivized the different public schools to play the Challenger in their classrooms. So they rolled their TV sets out, they had all the children sit down and get ready to watch it, and 20% of the American public watched the Challenger event happen live. And within 1 hour, 80% of Americans had seen the Challenger tragedy happen. So just like with 9/11, they have everyone see this traumatic event, and then we're all in unison that we're traumatized.
When it blew up, it was a form of trauma-based mind control that, you know, some people will never grow out of, and then the emotions kick in and you're unable to think logically about what's going on.
Of course this was planned. They made every school show this event live. They wanted these kids to grow up defending this tragedy.
Think about how many field trips come here, unfortunately. Yeah. And they go in and watch that Heroes and Legends thing, and they come out thinking that this is the greatest possible hero that they could ever be. And that's just, they're actors. And we're building them up higher than your father, police, military, all these people that are actual heroes. Right. These are actors working for a government agency. So.
Next. These are the same people. These are the astronauts. But we did have a few people that were skeptic and
I don't blame you. And those people that were skeptic were saying that the earlobes look different on some of the astronauts. The nose looks different on some of the astronauts. Now, what you have to remember is 40 years went by, so we're used to seeing celebrities and entertainers and musicians age in magazines and on the TV and so on. So we don't really pay attention to it. Now, when you ain't seen somebody in 40 years, it's a big difference. And people change a lot over 40 years. So you're looking at a picture from when they were around 30 years old, and you're looking at a picture 40 years later, kind of like Johnny Cash here. Look at him in 1957. The nose, look at the earlobes. Now, 40 years later in 1997, look at the nose and the earlobes. In the 1957 picture of Johnny Cash, his nose looks long and kind of curves to the left. Now look at the 1997 picture 40 years later, kind of looks short and plump, okay? And when we're younger, our lips look more plump and colorful, as you can see here in 1957 at the top lip, and then look at the top lip 40 years later. It's kind of drawed up and got a flatter look to it. And I could go on and on with celebrity after celebrity, entertainers, musicians, whatnot. But the point being is, people age differently. And some people's facial features just totally change after 40 years. But now that being said, there is one feature that really does not change over 40 years. And that's your teeth. Unless you spend 40 years not taking care of your teeth, of course, then yeah, your teeth are going to change. But most people, and especially these people that we are talking about with money, would have taken good care of their teeth all of these years. Aside of normal wear from eating for 40 years, of course, you know, the canines and the front teeth, some of them might be a little rounded. 40 years ago, they might have had a sharper look to them. But that's really the only thing that would change. So now let's take a look at the 1986 pictures of these astronauts. Two of them, I believe it was Michael J. Smith and Sharon Krista McAuliffe. Those are the two, I believe, that most people had a problem with the most recent pictures of them, believing that that was them. So anyways, let's have a look at their 1986 pictures and compare them with the most recent pictures of their teeth. So let's start out with Dick Scobie. We actually don't even really have to compare the teeth here. I mean, you can tell this is Dick Scobie in 2021. But let's entertain it anyway. Okay. Now, this one is pretty easy. I want you to take a look here on the left side of his left front tooth. You see that gap right there before you get to his canine tooth? See it in the 1986 picture, and you see it in the 2021 picture. Now take a look over here on the right side of his right front tooth. Now you see that little gap there before you get to the canine? Same thing in the 2021 picture, just older. And these are not very good pictures of their teeth. I'm just trying to do the best that I can to show you. You can usually identify someone by their teeth. So here we have a guy that supposedly died in an explosion in 1986, and then we have a recent picture of him in 2021. Let's say it's not the same guy, but he has the same name, he's the same age, he looks identical to him, and he even has the same teeth pattern. If you can't see that this is the same guy, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, here we have Michael J. Smith. I ain't even got to compare his teeth. You guys can see plain as day. Those are the same teeth, same mouth, same dimples, the same smile. But with Michael J. Smith, we have something totally different than we have with the rest of the so-called astronauts. On his right upper lip in the corner, he has a little dimple, like a little hole. I don't know if it's a scar or what it is. But as you can see here in 1986, he has it, and as you can see here, in 2021, there it is, the same little hole-looking scar thing. And once again, we have a so-called astronaut here that supposedly died in an explosion in 1986, but here in 2021, we have a guy with the same exact name, even the middle initial, the same age, the same almost identical face, and on top of it all, the exact same little hole dot scar thing in the right corner of his mouth. And like I said, you can believe what you want to, but I'm just telling you the facts and showing you the facts. Now, I wasn't going to do Judith Resnick, but I'm going to go ahead and do her because maybe some people don't think that it looks like her. Most people do, but check her out here in 1986 and 2021. Okay, the teeth are a dead giveaway on her. Look at them. Every single tooth is identical. Not only her nose is identical, her dimples are identical, her eyes are identical, her cheeks are identical. Look at those teeth. Every single one of them are identical. Not to mention that she has the same name as the astronaut. She is the same age as the astronaut and is identical in appearance, down to every single tooth. Okay, now here's the school teacher, Sharon Krista McCullough. And there are a lot of people that don't believe that this picture of 2021 is actually her. But I think it looks identical. Take a look at the nose. Take a look at the dimples, the chin, the little crease under the eyes. The eyes are identical, but it's the teeth. You see those teeth, especially the two front teeth? A lot of people would call it, I don't know what the professional word is, I forgot, but I say when you're young or in school, you would call someone buck tooth. Well, if you look at the 1986 picture, notice how the inside of her upper lip is kind of pulled down on her teeth. Well, that happens when people with teeth like that smile. It kind of sticks to the gum as you smile. And you can see the same thing here in 2021. See those two big front teeth? See how the lip still kind of sticks to it a little bit? Not as much as in the 86, but there's no doubt that those teeth are identical. Now, let me zoom in a little bit further. Looks like that canine kind of wore down a little bit over the years compared to it in the 86 picture. But take a look at this little dark gap here on her bottom row of teeth. Before you see this tooth, and then you see this dark space here, the 86 picture. Now look at the 2021 picture. See the little dark space here, and then that one tooth, and then dark space again. So once again, we have an astronaut that supposedly died in an explosion in 1986, but yet here in 2021, we have a woman with the same name, looks identical, she is the same age, and has the same identical teeth. And here we have Ellison Onizuka. Now this is a little different because he supposedly has a twin brother here in the 2021 picture, or claims to be his twin brother, but was nowhere heard of, not even heard of back in 1986 when this accident supposedly happened. And of course, if it is his identical brother, that it would explain why all the facial features are identical. But if both of these brothers were to die, you would be able to tell one from the other by their dental records. Now, have a look at the teeth here. Okay, you see this tooth right here between the left front tooth and the left canine? Notice how it's shorter than the other ones? Now look at the 2021 picture. Same thing. And then you have this little bitty space right here between the canine and the tooth behind it. But you see right here how you can see those bottom teeth in that one spot because that upper tooth is shorter in 86. Well, you see the same thing right here in the 2021 picture. That same little spot. You can see those bottom teeth. And also, like I said, these are not the best pictures to get a good close-up of their teeth. So, we're looking at this from a distance, and they are identical pretty much. So, like I said, identical, same age, same look, but claims to be his twin brother who was nowhere around in 86 when this accident happened. And then we have the same situation here with Ronald McNair. Supposedly, this guy on the right in 2021 picture is his twin brother. And his name is Carl McNair. Imagine that. So there's no comparing here. It's identical. But of course, it says it's his identical twin. I don't believe so, just like all the other ones. These are real pictures of these people still alive today. You've been fooled, people.
And nobody could have predicted back in 1986 that in 30 some odd years from then that there would be something called the internet that would bring all this information to the tip of your fingers, and you'd be able to search through pictures, Facebooks, websites, profiles. Now these people are scared. They're hiding their profiles, they're deleting their websites, they're making their Facebooks private.
The 7 NASA astronauts supposedly killed in the 1986 Challenger disaster did not die in the explosion and are quietly living out their lives in the US, with many of them hiding in plain sight, using their same names and working at high levels in the same fields they worked in before the disaster, according to explosive evidence uncovered by investigators.